Thank you, team 2021. Many of you are still with us, and Sounds of Autism has really grown since then. Phase one, which used to be 4 programs under this phase, came together and it really became the initiative that we said was the foundation builder for our program. It's a survival skill phase, and we're celebrating its 3rd year. It is all something that is introduced by college interns that represent us every year, every semester, and it's a boots on the ground campaign. Thank you, Director of Community and Corporate Outreach and college intern instructor Bernadette Smith and her family. These inspirational pictures that you're seeing are when our kids were very, very little and we're at the beginning stages of life, and none of us really knew that this was the journey we were going to be on, but we're here and we're all together, and that's what's really exciting to me. Phase one survival skills phase, it was inspired by adults that were aging out of their K through 12 journeys, and we were realizing that it was just a matter of time, and many of these adults were being forgotten, sitting at home, not having a plan, and parents were doing the best they could. We live day to day as parents of autism or other at-risk disabilities. We don't have the time to plan, and to be honest, many of us don't even want to see what the future looks like because we know that the plans that are out there are really not a sustainable or safe plan. Boots on the ground, college interns unified the Western region in 2021. And what does that mean to unify? Well, we went out and we talked to multiple people and really just started asking them to join our movement to create cultural change for everyone involved. And that was including our families, at-risk families, and other families, typical families, working together along with community responders and educational leaders to create a unified front to commit to working together to create a safer platform for life, job, and independent living skills for individuals that are adults now with disabilities. Our interns then moved in 2022 to the northern region and did the exact same thing, and we're going to continue that going into 2023, as well as in the fall of 2023 we will complete the entire state, but we will be continuing this program for the rest of its life, as long as Sounds of Autism is around, to maintain these relationships as well as work on tribal, rural, and military bases. So this is an ongoing movement that will never change until the culture has completely established, which we see will probably be way after we're all gone. But we're also working on this program to become something that we duplicate in other states. Why college students, and why did we choose Australia, Mountain Community College, ASU, and Huntington University? And to be honest, they chose us. They were the ones that reached out and asked us to become a community partner with them, and we've kept these relationships now for 3 years. We're super excited about that. We're preparing the next generation of leaders. We found out quickly that this cultural change has to start at the beginning of the culture. And with adults, it's like riding a bike and you learned it the wrong way. It's difficult to change people that have certain behaviors and that are peer-to-peer with us. So we decided to go to a younger generation and start working with them so that this cultural change can take place. And nobody knows it any differently. And so we're in these colleges working with these students to show them the signs and the need for the autism and at-risk populations. They're also the next generation of parents, and we want to make sure that they know what they're looking for signs, because we know that many of these individuals that are being diagnosed are way later in life, and we know that the brain is developed within the first 5 years, 90% of it. And this is a very important thing to notice as a parent, and giving these kids this information now and empowering them really helps them when they get to that level of being a parent. 90% of the child's brain developed in the first 5 years. I didn't know that. And so when I was seeing signs, I didn't even know those were signs that I was seeing. And so we want to make sure that people are not making the mistakes that I made. And majority of my program from now till at least 20 years old are a lot of mistakes that I made that I know I can help others with. So, you're watching my failures, basically. Seeing the signs is critical for moms and for dads. Sometimes there's a fight when these types of things start happening, and one parent doesn't want to give the stigma or the disability, or they don't recognize it, or they say, oh, they'll grow out of it, or whatever it may be. And we're hoping that that's just something that we completely remove from the equation because of working with these college students and really preparing them to see the signs quickly. And we're asking them to ask for help. We know that asking for help is critical, but it's also difficult for people. People don't want to show that side of their life. They call it weak. I had a lady today. I offered her the opportunity to meet with another mom that lives in the same vicinity as she does, and they both have the same age daughters, and they're both going through the same thing. And I said to the mom, I would love for you to meet meet each other, because I really feel like you can help one another through where you're at, and you're both at the beginning stages of your journeys. And they both declined. They were embarrassed. They were afraid to say that I'm not doing the right thing. The one mom says, I have no idea what I'm doing and I don't want to be embarrassed. Being embarrassed to me would be when you don't ask for help, because this is not about you. This is about your child and the needs that your child has. And we don't make fun of anybody. As I said, you're watching all of my failures right in front of you. And this is what I'm doing to basically go back and fix them. Sounds of Autism prepares interns to see the signs and learn to ask for help. And we're hoping that they will become the empowered individual to help guide others, even adults, because we know that when we give them this cultural empowerment, that those are things that they'll start doing. You see the things that individuals are doing nowadays. They're trying all kinds of different styles of life. So why not give them another one, and one that would be very useful for everybody? Boots on the ground interns meet with the mayors. We meet with city council members. We want them to see what type of leadership is in your community. And is this a community that you would be proud of living in if you were raising an at-risk child? So reaching out to these individuals, and everybody that's on a magazine cover, I'm telling you right now, they're the most amazing people and the most amazing leaders. And we really want to identify that. And when you have multiple individuals to compare leadership to, you learn your style, but you also learn the people that are making things happen and the people that might be struggling to make things happen. And again, we're not here to point out anybody's failures or successes, just mine, because I want to make sure that people understand leadership is not easy. You might be the smartest kid in the class, but you might be a horrible teacher. You might be the best athlete, but a horrible coach. And we've learned that in our lives already. So we know that, that leadership is not always easy. And sometimes people just get voted in because they're popular, but they don't really know the job. Or maybe people just didn't know any better and they didn't realize this person was uneducated. Meet community resources and support solutions. I mean, we have amazing people in our community, but Robert Height in Glendale, he has multiple members of the Glendale Chamber, and he really sets the bar for what a chamber should be doing. He's out there advocating for education, lobbying for legislation. He is keeping us informed at all times about what's happening in the community and how we could do better to make a community really work. Nancy, she is a realtor with Sky Homes. She went with a smaller company because she wanted to work with individuals that had kids that were at risk, and she wanted to make sure that they were living in communities where maybe the water, pools and places where kids could drown. If they have an eloping issue with their child, this might not be the right place for you. You might need to be in a gated community where the pools are gated. We also have Ideal Care. She works with multiple Hispanic populations in the community in Avondale, but she also has a son with autism. He's an adult, and she too shares her story and her journey. And Gabby and Jose with Ideal Care, they work on Article 9. They get a lot of our team members certified and get parents up and running to be successful with their child. And then Mary, she's going to be, I think, the director for the Kiwanis Club, the regional director. But right now she's working in Buckeye. She works at the library. She's a Kiwanian, and she is just such an open-minded lady and very welcoming and warm. She really wants to help her community. So these are people that we would refer to our families if they're in need of help or support, or they just want to get involved. And, we continue to do these types of highlights because we want to make sure that they know that we are very impressed with what they're doing and that we're very proud of them. Our first responder leadership, Buckeye Police Department. They're working with one of our elementary school teachers. She's a behavior coach, and she's teaching educators how to work with individuals with disabilities. She's also taken on the role to start bridging the gaps between education and law enforcement. This has been a dream of mine since 2015, and she's going to make this happen. And what's exciting is she has a law enforcement background and an education background with special needs kids, as well as coaching teachers on how to work with the behaviors. And so having this individual on our team now is just amazing. I'll share her a little bit later. And then we have Sergeant Sean Tyler with the Goodyear Police Department, him and I have a like-minded friend that took his life. We both understand mental health and suicide and what happens when you don't respond in a timely manner to individuals that are struggling. Sean, I asked him one day, why are you getting involved in what we're doing? He said, if I don't, who's going to? And he just wants to make a difference. He's doing an awesome job. He is responsible for the Litchfield School District and the Buckeye area with those teachers as well as Avondale. And he has all his SROs learning and educating constantly about how to support and serve the at-risk populations. And that's from adult, kids to adults. And it's not just autism, it's all at risk. Mental and behavioral health solutions. And then my husband, Kevin Crotty, he was giving Landon a ride along in this magazine article, but just sharing what a dad, especially a responder dad, goes through and the concerns that they have for their children and the things that they could do to, help bring awareness to these types of jobs and careers and, de-escalation and all the things that need to happen to make us have a safer platform. And, he's here and he can support me and, give me direction and clear understanding of what law enforcement goes through so that when I'm out there in the community, I can make sure that we're representing everybody and we're bridging all those gaps. And then we have our educational leaders. So Gina DeCosta has been with us since 2011. We're celebrating and recognizing 12 years of support with the Litchfield School District and the Agua Fria Board of Director. She has, law enforcement in her life. Her husband's a Phoenix officer as well. And she has been with the mental health and behavioral health population for many, many years. And she is 100% behind us. She advocates for us. And she was the one that introduced Karina Whalen to me and brought this behavior coach to us and feels that this is a great fit for us to implement our program, Responders Unite. We have worked with multiple communities and we completed the West region and now we're in the North, and I'm excited about that because we're going to continue in the North, and all of these communities by the end of the school year will be completely up and running, and they will be behind us, finding ways to implement adaptive behavioral programs in their communities, working together as a unified front to serve and support individuals with mental and behavioral health solutions or ailments in their community from prenatal till the end of life. For us to keep these relationships going, Bernadette and I worked on a Spectrum Talks and Tips update that we'll be doing every month, and we'll be sharing with everybody in the community the things that we're working on, the grant monies that we're receiving, all of the things that are being developed so that everybody stays on the same page. They say one of the number one things, that causes people to fail or become uninvolved is they don't have any type of communication. So our unified responder community movement introduces cultural change that we provide awareness, education, and constant communication about autism and others at risk. And it's critical that we all work together. So this is going to be brought to you by the desk of Bernadette Smith every month. If you have anything you want to include in these updates, please send them to her on the third week of the month that's ending so that we can make sure we get her the information so she can launch this on week 1 to everybody. There's 3.5 reasons why someone fails. Does anyone know what that is? Those 3.5 reasons and why? And I just mentioned one briefly, but lack of knowledge, missing information or education or awareness about a topic is probably the number one reason that we fail at something. People don't know, they don't know what they don't know, and so you can't just assume. And sometimes we think that people just know. And when you're dealing with a population like autism, those are literal thinkers. Those are individuals that have to think literally. And because of that, when you talk to them and you tell them something, many times the message that you're giving them is misunderstood, and it's because they don't understand your language. So you need to slow down, take it one step at a time, and make sure that they repeat back to you everything that you're teaching them so that you know that they know what you just said. And that still doesn't mean they processed it. So you could repeat it a million times, believe me. Lack of execution, a breakdown of a system. You have an idea, you show people the vision, you have them practice the vision, but you don't condition it to the point where it's in their long-term muscle memory. And because of no accountability, you're so busy, you don't realize that this isn't being implemented correctly. They need additional support. Those things aren't happening. And guess what? The idea that you had falls apart. And we keep introducing it over and over again. And if you introduce something more than once, maybe 2, 3 times, and it's not working, most people think because it shouldn't work. And so you're going to lose your audience. So we got to make sure that these people understand what your vision is, but that you're there to hold people accountable to that vision and give them as much support as they need to implement that into the long-term process of whatever the equation is that you're working on. and lack of ability. Some people are just unable to do something. I'm not an artist. I can create music. I can, play music on the piano, but when it comes to other instruments, I don't have the knowledge to do that or the ability to execute something like that. But sometimes it's lack of ability because you just don't care, and maybe you don't want to be a participant of what we're trying to create here, and we understand that too. And all we ask in those cases is, if you don't want to be a participant or you don't know how to be a participant, ask for us to help you, or just stay silent. You don't have to say anything, and we're okay with that as well. And the half reason that people fail is because maybe they're dealing with a disability. The individual wants to participate, but their hands are tied. They don't know how. We must find those abilities within those individuals and spend the time to overcome the hurdles and obstacles that are created for them with this disability, so that we can do our best to condition all abilities to their fullest potential. And that takes time. And sometimes people don't have the time or the patience to do this. And that's why Sons of Autism exist. We are here to support families that want to get to this point where their kids are to the fullest potential, but maybe their time doesn't allow for it, or they just don't know how to get their child there. We're willing to support that. And that's really what Sounds of Autism is. So cheers to Bernadette Smith and Phase 1, her college boots on the ground team, Brendan Nelson, lead director of college programs, Jackie Alicia Torres, director of education in the Spanish version, Josh Napoleon, the northern region support ambassador as we grow in the northern region. And, please, a round of applause for Bernadette and her team. Thank you.